So, our second most successful video ever is an Animal Crossing video. We should maybe talk about that more? I don't know. You tell me. Nintendo's now former president Tatsumi Kimishima has stated that they are not now yet ready to talk about the rest of their 2018 games library. With that said, this video is about Animal Crossing because 1, it's been a while, and 2, I want Animal Crossing to be one of those games, even though I don't think there's any chance of it coming out before 2019. The main reason for that being they don't need it to. Now, don't confuse that with me saying I don't need it to. I need all of the Switch things to happen immediately, but there's Wii U phantom pains that are still very real, meaning Nintendo will be a lot more hesitant to release all of their good stuff all at once. They have their big holiday season pretty buttoned up between Smash Bros. Ultimate and Pokemon Let's Go. The games that they will announce between now and then will almost certainly be smaller games. Probably more Wii U enhanced ports like Mario Maker, maybe, just maybe. But I digress. I think Animal Crossing is most likely a first half of 2019 game. I say that because I'm pretty sure it'll come before 2020, and these games usually launch in the holiday season or the summer. If Metroid Prime 4 and Pokemon Switch 2019 are their holiday titles for that year, I don't think there's much room for Animal Crossing to really find its footing out the gate if it were to release during the holiday season. If only Metroid Prime 4 was coming out, 100% Animal Crossing would be a good call. But with Pokemon being there and all, I would say that takes up the part of the Venn diagram that exists between Metroid Prime and Animal Crossing. There isn't likely to be a whole lot of crossover between those two, but throwing Pokemon into that changes everything. So I'd say summer is the best bet. Not that Animal Crossing needs it, but the summer is usually relatively light for game releases when compared to spring or fall. My money's on Animal Crossing Switch being no later than September 2019. That's my guess. Someone hold me to it. With that said, there's no word from Nintendo on what Animal Crossing on Nintendo Switch will be, or any clear language that it's happening anytime soon, which means it's still a prime candidate for hope and speculation. And that's what we're here to do. Animal Crossing is Nintendo's take on a game that you just play passively and veg out on for years at a time. That sort of game isn't exactly well known to most gamers, especially gamers that are excited for games like Pokemon and Smash Brothers, you know, more active games. For a game like this, they're not sure what the point is, but that's just it. They decide, I decide, you decide what the point is in an Animal Crossing game. Even with that in mind, Animal Crossing has begun to give the player a role that puts you in a position of power over the neighborhood, rather than just being a resident of it. Judging by the response of my last Animal Crossing video, I'd say the majority of Animal Crossing players like this change and hope the mayoral aspect of the game returns. But I'd argue that there's a position in the Animal Crossing world that has even more power than the mayor, and with this position you would still be able to naturally keep a lot of the powers that the mayor had in the first place. If not that, you'd be able to influence the mayor a whole lot, and you'd be able to do a lot more. Only one position that I can think of in the Animal Crossing world has more power than the mayor. That one position that I think we need to be able to hold for the features that I think should be implemented into the next Animal Crossing game is real estate agent. That's right, I think usurping Tom Nook as the real estate overlord is the ultimate form of an Animal Crossing game. The motivation of this change for me has a few layers, some personal, some, as I said, inspired by you guys in my last video on this franchise's comment section, and just general progression of the concept of controlling the town you inhabit. As the real estate overlord, you solve a couple of infamous aspects of Animal Crossing, with the first and most important of which being you get to watch the slow, painful, methodical, depressing demise of the Tom Nook Empire. Of course, you shouldn't start with all of this power, power, because that would severely change the experience, and I don't think that's what we need. This needs to be a working your way up the ladder thing. There's nothing really new about working for Tom Nook, but never have we ever been able to take that experience and use it against him to leave him and his kids penniless and contemplating their place in the Animal Crossing world. Okay, this is getting a bit dark. I am mostly kidding. Tom Nook is kind of the worst kind of person. Animal person. But I do think there's a strange contingent of people that love Tom Nook. So if you don't want to systemically take him down through industrial espionage, completely up to you. I personally have a vendetta and will be using everything in my power to take Tom Nook down. Not only would that change afford the ability for some sweet revenge against Tom Nook, you'd also be able to have control over who gets to live in your town. As a mayor, you don't get to evict people, but you would get to do that if you were their landlord. It would no longer be necessary to bully residents you don't like. Don't like someone? Raise their rent or frame them for some sort of offense that could void their lease or whatever. You'd have more control over where new residents get to move because you'd have ownership over their property. The negative aspect of being a landlord, though, would be having too many bells than you know what to do with. The game would lose a lot of its appeal if you don't have anything to really strive for. There's a balance that needs to be maintained to keep the game interesting. There needs to be something to strive for, so that means they would either have to police how much money you'd get to make from being the realtor, or they'd have to produce a lot of content with a high ceiling so people with thriving businesses in the game could have a reason to keep going. I think there's two ways to go about squashing this issue. Two opposing ways, sort of. The first way would be to only allow for a portion of the bells from villagers' loans to be paid out to the player, depending on how much work they put into building and maintaining the property and village overall. It would make the income less passive and only really lucrative if you actively pursue it. I think that would keep the vanilla Animal Crossing experience intact. You wouldn't need to pursue it if you didn't want to, but if you did, not only would it ultimately net you more bells, it would give you more to do. Which brings about the second way I think they can go about solving the money problem. The more way to solve the money problem. Allow for more house expansions for all properties, including the ones you sell. Add the possibility to expand your town or allow the opportunity to unlock more towns to travel to for more exotic fruits, fish, and bugs, as well as a potential increase in minigame types, sort of like the islands, but bigger and more. They will also need to increase the amount of things that require bells to access, so maybe go deeper with the tycoon-esque aspects of Animal Crossing, like the stock market. Include the ability to invest in other businesses and start new ones in your town, as well as the new towns you unlock, like starting a resort on the new island. This would introduce more risk-reward things to do with bells. They could also make customization options deeper and allow the opportunity to buy even more clothes and accessories for your villager. While I'm throwing a bunch of stuff that'll never happen at the wall, why not add stuff like more dialogue options? Let my villager be an animal if I want. If not that, at least allow me to make my villager actually look more like me from the start of the game rather than having to work to get a vague approximation. Give me more town ordinances. That's not a criticism. I just really like the town ordinances and would love to have more of them. I know there's no way we'll ever see classic Nintendo games return to Animal Crossing, but could we maybe see smaller games made by small teams from in and outside of Nintendo? Games similar to the free ones they released on the Wii U eShop developed by game design students. Make the world in my game connected to my Nintendo Switch best friends worlds online so we can conduct business en masse and have a connected economy between our towns. That may seem like a big ask, but I think it would make a lot of sense on Nintendo's end too, to incentivize as many sections of their fan base to buy into Switch Online. I don't think the casual crowd has as many good reasons to buy into it as is. This could sweeten the pot for that crowd, at least a little bit. And also me, I want to have the option to go in deep with the Animal Crossing life sim aspects, and to have more to show for it than a town that looks kind of cool, but only within the parameters that we've been given so far. We gotta admit, our options are kind of limited. I think these changes would give us the power to make towns a lot more robust, fun to inhabit, and challenging to grow along the way. But like if you choose to go that deep. Kind of like Pokemon, it can be a passive experience, or you could go deep into mechanics like EVs and IVs. So in summary, let me be a Tom Nook replacement, take over the town and craft it myself, and you know what, pretty much everything else into what I want it to be, but make me work for it. Is that too much to ask? I'm kidding, mostly. At the end of the day, I just want a great Animal Crossing game that gives those of us that want a more active experience the option to do so without completely destroying what Animal Crossing is. The formula is already pretty solid and hasn't outstayed its welcome in my book, but I'm always down for a franchise to grow and expand. So any type of growth that makes sense within the world of the franchise, I'm on board for. And if you think a more objective based game with more things for you to do is not relaxing, you must have never played Stardew Valley. I'd recommend it. But those are my thoughts. What do you think about taking Tom Nook's job in the next Animal Crossing? When do you think we'll see it? Do you want to see more Animal Crossing content on this channel? Let me know that and more in the comments down below. Like the discussion, like the video, and share it with a friend who also likes Animal Crossing, wants Animal Crossing on their Switch immediately, and likes talking about it. Check out our website for more content like this and reviews and written articles that you wouldn't see on this channel. What you will see on this channel is new videos every Tuesday, Thursday, and new podcast every Saturday, but we're probably going to move those to a different channel eventually, so I'll let you know what that is later. Subscribe to that. Okay, that's it for me. See you next week.